Wisconsin. Now recognize Mr. Pocan for 5 minutes.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Postmaster, for being here. I know we had a meeting a while back kind of behind closed doors, and you and I had a good, frank conversation on a number of issues. As you know, I've been a bit critical of some of the changes that you've made. You may remember I had, 5 days, people didn't get their mail in Madison, Wisconsin.
I remember you being frank.
Yes, I was. Thank you. And so I actually am heartened, and I want to make sure you hear this, by the fact that many of the procedures you explained you're going to do prior to election, including prioritizing ballots, because this is not something we've had a problem with in Wisconsin. In fact, I remember them bringing multiple trips a day of ballots in, and it did work well. So knowing that you haven't changed that, I'm heartened by, so thank you. And I think that will bode well for the election. Yeah, write that one down. Let me give you a little backhanded heartened, though. I'm also heartened that you're not doing changes on the regional transportation optimization or local transportation optimization programs between October 1st and Election Day. I might recommend you consider extending that period to forever for this reason. You did 2 pilot runs on the LTO. You did in Richmond, Virginia, and Green Bay, Wisconsin, in my state. Since those policies were implemented, Wisconsin's on-time 2-day delivery service dropped from 91.5% to 70.5%, and our 3 to 5 day delivery service fell from 86.2% to 67.9%. I think we are second worst in the country right now, and Virginia, I believe, was 4th worst, and it just so happens the other pilot was Richmond, Virginia. It seems to be perhaps some coincidental, operations that it's happening that way. But can you tell me more about if our service dropped that significantly since this was implemented? What makes you think this is a great plan to extend nationally?
Yeah.
And again, I'm really heartened you're not extending it from October 1 to the election day. That gives me some reassurances. But our actual experience in Wisconsin was extremely negative, and we already have the processing center problems. Can you explain a little more about this?
Yes, sir, certainly. So, first off, most single-piece first-class mail, which what is our system is mostly designed for, was about 59 billion pieces a year in 2000. It was less than 12 billion last year. We still have the collection system and the collection from households, which I supported, put in our plan, and helped push through legislation that we committed to delivery to 167 million addresses 6 days a week. Okay, but the collection and collect it back to our spots, but we still run trucks, 50,000 trucks a day, 30%, 30% full. And we still have archaic business rules
If I
that
could,
generate these.
yeah, if I could, just because I want to make sure I have such limited time.
Yeah.
The problem is when you quit picking up mail the same day and they have to wait another day, they put something in on Friday, it doesn't get picked up till a Monday, right? The extension of that amount of time, remember, we had this conversation behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Your mission is not necessarily to reduce costs. Your mission, first and foremost, is to deliver mail. But if we're having this reduced delivery because of processing centers and now because of this pilot project that you're going to take national, that's my concern, is that by not picking it up the same day like people are used to, you're going to extend that even more.
So, 2 things. Number one, I think this is a big problem for somebody like me who's trying to fix the place, right, is we have a legislative requirement to cover our cost. That's it. I don't get money. It's like I get like 0.1%
Right, but
of our
service, delivering the mail is your number one
That's
objective,
We're
right?
gonna deliver the mail.
And
We're
you
gonna
can
deliver
do
the
things
mail
like
at
postal bank, you could do a
167
lot of other
million
things and
6 days a
extend to
week.
make money into the
And there's a
facility.
standard.
But if you can't deliver the mail, that's also going to affect your bottom line, and it affects our
The
constituents.
law also says, in the last one that was just passed in 2022, which maintained that I have to cover our cost, is that we have to create an integrated mail and package network. That means mail and packages move together, okay? Under the system that I came into, that was designed, that was losing $10 billion a year, that is not an integrated mail and package network. To do so, we will still.
The directive was not to have delayed mail and packages. It was to deliver the
That's-
mail and packages, and that's the
laws
problem
are
is
never
the
very
changes you've
prescriptive.
made have delayed
Laws are
those
very
things.
prescriptive when it comes to the United States Postal Service.
But you haven't addressed the delays.
So the delays, number one, we do have some operational implementation delays, right, in terms of changing it. There is also, this is one of the reasons I went in for the 3661, right, that we have in front of the Postal Regulatory Commission to reconstruct. My whole national system is tied to a collection box time that's 30 miles outside of Roanoke, Virginia, for 2 pieces of mail that are in there. My whole system has to operate that way, around that. That's why we're losing so much money. I need to adjust some of those business rules that will still have mail delivered 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day at the worst. Some mail might go a day later in a 2 day to 3 day, but most mail will accelerate once I do that. We will drive significant cost out. And a 5-day system for a package delivery, which would move with the mail, is faster than UPS and FedEx on the ground. Right? So there are some adjustments. This cannot be fixed. This cannot be integrated. This cannot make money unless we get realistic about what has happened to the organization over the last 15 years, despite the 2006 PAEA legislation, which was probably the worst legislation ever thought up by the Congress, and that dramatically was punitive to this organization.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'll try to get an answer in the second round.
I